Right now at 5, Joplin council members step up to the plate to decide if your tax dollars should fund major turf upgrades.
And we've got very dense fog across the region this morning. We're going to have a look at that and your forecast for today coming up.
Plus, a Joplin man receives the fire chief's cross for saving a teenager trapped on the second-floor balcony during a house fire.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Samantha Walker.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is Tuesday, January the 6th. Happy Tuesday to everybody. If you are starting your commute, though, this morning, a lot of kids heading back to school today.
Yes.
It may be a bit of a slow go out there, whether you're taking them or they're on the bus, as we have a lot of dense fog across the majority of the area. And that is why this morning we are starting with a traffic alert for that dense fog across the area. So if you are traveling again, you've got to be extra cautious out there this morning. We can't emphasize that enough. And this is why. You can see, you almost can't see downtown Pittsburgh, where we've got almost zero visibility being reported. 7th and Range Line, Westco camera at 7th and Range Line, we've seen the fog increase a wee bit, and then it eases up, but we still have light fog in the city. But once you get on the loop around, you get on the outskirts of town, that's when that fog thickens back up again. KDOT camera 69 just north of Baxter Springs. Again, you can't really see too terribly much out there. You can see that dense fog as that truck goes by. KDOT camera 69 400 just south of Pittsburgh. Again, looking east along 171. Fog. And we head down to MoDOT camera 32nd in Range Line. Again, it's a little out of focus, but even out of focus, you can still see the light fog out there. And it's the same from the MoDOT camera rather at 20th in Range Line. It's light fog again in the city, but then you get to the interstate, you get to the highways, and you can see how dense the fog is. We had some brief clearing. You could actually make out the outlines of the buildings there at exit 4. So that'd be 43 South, or like Coyote heading north where it turns back into Schifferdecker. That's that location. I-44 at Range Line. Again, you can see the fog is a little denser along the highway. The Main Street camera at exit 6 doesn't look as bad. There's still fog, but it's a little clearer. And then you head to exit 11. So we're looking, this is 249 if you go that way, and it turns into I-49 going that way. And fog still out there. Dense fog advisories across a good portion of the area. The latest of these run through 9 a.m. And this is why nearly zero visibility or at zero visibility. Miami, Pittsburgh, Parsons, Independence, Newada, Veneta, Grove, Bentonville. Anderson's only at a mile. Joplin's at 3. And remember, that's being reported at the airport. So that's why I mean the outskirts, fog gets a little denser. But across the entire region, every major highway we have, every roadway we've got, we are experiencing dense fog. So again, slow down. Low beams, not your high beams. Fog lights if you got them. Just be extra cautious this morning. Temperature-wise, 52 in Joplin, 46 in Pittsburgh. Here's that weak cold front. So if you're right with it, you can see where we've fallen back into the mid to upper 30s. Look right ahead of it. Chautauqua is at 50. And then back behind it, Yates Center already back around 38. So you do warm up a bit on the backside. As it pushes through, these 50s will drop a bit. It's a weak front, not a major impact. In fact, in terms of our temperatures today, only a couple of degrees cooler than yesterday. Once we get past the fog, skies clear out pretty quickly. We have a really nice day lined up for us with these clear skies. Northwest winds will be light as well. Kids, back to school. I know you're probably not too excited. Some of you are. Others, my youngest loves school, so he's excited. But we're looking at the upper 40s, cloudy, fog, upper 50s, clear skies, lunch and recess, mid 60s as they head home. We're going to go upper 40s by 9, upper 50s by noon, mid 60s for those highs today, and that northwest breeze at 5 to 10. We do have thunderstorm chances still on the horizon for Thursday. In fact, some more information coming in this morning. We're going to break it down for you in just a few more minutes. Samantha?
Chris, thanks. Joplin City Council members vote on a nearly $1.6 million plan to transform Joplin's aging sports facilities. Council members passed the contract on first reading to replace the synthetic turf at Joe Becker and Wendell Redden stadiums. The project also includes new turf installation at 4 fields in the Gene Baseman Baseball Complex, where the majority of the funding will be spent. Mid-America Sports Construction will handle the work, removing the old turf and installing the new AstroTurf. The upgrades were approved by voters as part of the quarter-cent Parks and Stormwater sales tax in 2021. A Joplin Good Samaritan received special recognition at yesterday's council meeting for saving a teenager's life. Joplin Fire Chief Gerald Dizelle presented Mark Crandell Crandall with the Chief's Cross for his heroic actions during a house fire on South Pearl Street in December. Crandall had grabbed a ladder from his truck and rushed to help 15-year-old David Hatfield, who was trapped on a second-floor balcony. The Missouri State Highway Patrol has released its traffic crash statistics for the long New Year's week holiday weekend. It reports 5 traffic fatalities between December 31st and January 4th. It compared to only one the previous year, but total crashes were down. The patrol investigated 187 crashes, resulting in 87 injuries. Troopers also made 112 DWI arrests. There are a few new plants that can be planted this early in the year, but it takes more than weather to help them grow. KOAM's Nellie Lopez gives us the details on a few beginning steps to take and how to keep your garden alive.
These are also really good for starting like pansies, violas, stuff like that for your flowers.
Seed trays are a great way to start prepping your flower seeds, but also several vegetable seeds, as you can keep them in your home and they just need a source of heat. But there are some plants that are ready for this weather.
It's going to be the fruit trees primarily, because we really want to get them into the ground now so you can take advantage of any snow we get. Nitrogen is like one of the best fertilizers you can get. It's natural. Not only that, but you're getting the snow, which is helping it get acclimated. Really good watering from the snow.
Water, a very important necessity for all, even for plants.
And a lot of people think they don't have to water their plants in the winter. And there's been a lot of perennial die-off due to having these drier winters. So we're advising all of our clients to go ahead and make sure they're supplement watering throughout these drier times in the winter months.
Another prepping tip before you start adding your plants to your garden is testing the soil.
Very important to know your plants if they're alkaline or if they're acidic, or if they're kind of like can go a little bit each way on where you plant them in your gardens.
But of course, every gardener has a unique trick up their sleeve.
My grandparents taught me this rule. I've learned to abide by it. Every time I tried not to abide by it, it doesn't work out. And that is no planting of the vegetable garden until after Good Friday.
So start prepping your seeds. Make sure you test the soil for alkaline and acidic levels. Remember to always water your plants, and don't forget to check the weather. In EO Show, I'm Nellie Lopez, KOAM News.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News. President Trump says, quote, "We're in charge of Venezuela," after a U.S. military operation captures Nicolas Maduro while also claiming America needs Greenland. Plus, K-pop Demon Hunters and Elio lead the Annie Awards with 10 nominations each as animation's biggest night approaches February 21st. And tracking storms into 4 states, Chris has a look at your weekly forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Topping World Watch, Greenlanders say President Trump's takeover threats reach a completely different level following the Venezuela military action. Residents in Nuuk tell Reuters they're more worried now that Trump has shown he acts on his words. Denmark's prime minister warns Trump must be taken seriously while reaffirming Greenland doesn't want to join the United States. The Trump administration is defending its decision to carry out a raid in Venezuela to capture President Nicolas Maduro and his wife and bring them to the U.S. to face criminal charges. Erica Brown has more details from Capitol Hill.
Venezuela's UN ambassador accused the United States of violating international law with Saturday's military operation that led to the capture and removal of President Nicolas Maduro. U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Mike Waltz, defended it as a necessary law enforcement operation.
The United States arrested a narco-trafficker who is now going to stand trial in the United States in accordance with the rule of law.
Venezuela's acting president, Delcy Rodriguez, was sworn in Monday and has offered to work with the Trump administration.
We're dealing with the people that just got sworn in, and don't ask me who's in charge, because I'll give you an answer and it'll be very controversial.
What does that mean?
It means we're in charge.
Trump administration officials are briefing a bipartisan group of lawmakers on the military operation, but some have questioned what's next for the U.S.'s role in Venezuela.
You're saying you're going to run Venezuela now when the American economy has got flashing red lights and smoke coming out of it. Focus.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio also spoke with his Danish counterpart Monday after President Trump's comments Sunday night about the Danish territory Greenland.
We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security, and Denmark is not going to be able to do it, I can tell you.
Denmark's ambassador to the U.S. posted on social media that Greenland is already a part of NATO and dedicated to the defense of the U.S., while adding his country expects full respect for the territorial integrity of the kingdom. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
President Trump also suggested he could carry out similar raids in Colombia as he ordered in Venezuela. Well, still to come, new transplant technology letting 2 recipients share the same liver. Plus, we're tracking storms in the 4 states. Chris has a look at your Tuesday forecast. Today in entertainment news, the nominees for this year's Big Animation Awards and a documentary marking a grim anniversary. Here's David Daniel with the Hollywood Minute.
You think we're just gonna let you steal our fans?
K-pop Demon Hunters still has plenty of fans. It's up for a leading 10 nominations, including Best Picture at this year's Annie Awards, honoring the best in animation. Elio also received 10 nominations and is up for Best Picture. The other Best Picture nominees are Little Amelie or the Character of Rain, Zootopia 2, and The Bad Guys 2. The 53rd Annie Awards take place February 21st.
I said, there's no way if fire was going to make it all the way to our house.
That's downtown Altadena.
And it did. This was our family legacy.
You moved into a black community where we are not on the priority list to save our lives. They've been wanting to get us out of there for a very long time.
The documentary All the Walls Came Down shows many survivors of last year's devastating Eaton fire are facing a second disaster. Mortgage relief and rental assistance are running out, and families who lost generational wealth are at risk of displacement and homelessness. The film debuts on the LA Times website and YouTube channel Wednesday, the one-year anniversary of the Eaton fire. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
A petition at change.org calls on California officials to halt foreclosures and evictions for Eaton fire survivors and help them rebuild. Well, now here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, take a look at downtown Pittsburgh, or what you can see of it. Very dense fog out there this morning. We have dense fog advisories in place. Taking a look, Westco Camera 7th and Range Line. It doesn't look as bad. And again, in the city of Joplin, fog visibility levels haven't been too bad. KDOT camera south of Pittsburgh on US 69 at 400. You can still see some of that dense fog out there this morning as well. Same from the Baxter Springs camera just north of Baxter on 69. And then heading back to Joplin, again, light fog within the city itself, but if you get to the outskirts and take a look around, you can see on I-44 reduced visibilities out there, so you need to slow down, be cautious. We're going to go over the fog, and we're going to talk about our thunderstorm chances as we head into Thursday when the KOAM Morning News returns. Time now is 6:18. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 6:20 now on this Tuesday morning. Start with our dense fog advisories. The latest of these run through 9 a.m. And I say that because, again, we have 5 offices that cover our region, and there are 3 different sets of fog advisories. It may not look like it, but there are. But the latest run through 9 a.m., and this is why. Take a look. We've still got near zero visibility. Pittsburgh, 0 in Miami. Veneta, Nowata, Parsons, Independence, Grove, Anderson, Bentonville. Very low visibilities. Dense fog stretching up toward Lamar. Nearly everybody, with the exception of Yates Center, really, I guess Iola to a degree, getting in on this morning. So every major highway we have, every route you could possibly take in most of the region, you need to slow down. Low beams, not your high beams. Fog lights if you've got them. And again, if you may know that route like the back of your hand, but then don't ever try this. But think of it this way. If you were driving that same route with your eyes closed, would you still know every turn, every stopping point? Probably wouldn't. Would you be able to see every obstacle? Probably wouldn't. So that's why we're urging you this morning to travel safe, because this is very dense fog over a very broad part of our area as we get things underway on our Tuesday morning. Now, once we get past the fog, we clear out nicely. We have a weak cold front pushing through as we speak. There's not much to it. And the reason we say weak is we're talking highs today are going to be about 2 degrees cooler for most of us than where they were yesterday. It's not a major impact at all. Skies clear out. Nice day, nice evening. A little colder tonight because we won't have any clouds to lock in that warmer air. As we go into Wednesday, though, warm front starts to approach. Winds shift out of the south, gusting up to 20 at times, and skies start going mostly cloudy through the morning into the afternoon. Now, we're expecting to remain dry the majority of Wednesday, but we will be cloudy out there. And then as we go Wednesday evening, again, some of the data suggests as early as 9 or 10 o'clock Wednesday could get a couple of isolated showers or storms. The better chances, though, start building in very early Thursday morning after about 2 a.m. Initially, some showers, maybe a couple of thunderstorms out there by 5 on Thursday morning. However, we start to see more organized thunderstorm development, especially in the southeast Kansas, through the morning. So while we're on here with the KOAM Morning News, we'll see these thunderstorms begin to increase in coverage, and we could get some strong to low-grade severe storms out there. But thankfully, as we've mentioned, leading into Thursday, while we've seen the signs for some stronger storms, we have not seen signs for a severe weather outbreak or anything intense like that, but we could get some stronger storms and some heavy rain, and more of us expected to get rain, which will certainly be beneficial given the drought conditions. Now, as the front begins to approach later through the mid to late morning into the afternoon, additional thunderstorms, some of which could still be strong to low-grade severe, may develop and start to push through the region. But as we head into the afternoon, skies begin to clear. A couple of isolated showers maybe late in the evening, but things get better after that. It gets breezy and it's going to get cooler, but we at least are going to get some rain. So tomorrow, that's why we have this light green highlighted area for tomorrow, because we could get a couple of isolated showers or storms late in the day, and that level 1 out of 5 just barely clipping Washington County. It's Thursday that we have that level 1 out of 5 for a good portion of the region. And again, the primary concerns at this point are going to be with hail and wind gusts with any of the stronger or even, again, low-grade severe storms. So we'll be here through Thursday morning, keeping an eye on that for you. As for this morning, fog through the morning, at least to get us started, upper 40s out there. Fog burns off, clouds start to clear out, mid-50s by 11 o'clock this morning, ahead of our highs going back into the mid-60s. Clear skies, northwest winds 5 to 10. Into the evening, clear skies continue, so again, without the cloud, temperature drop, but we're still above normal. Yeah, it's colder, but it's still above normal. Upper 30s with calm winds. Upper 60s, maybe some low 70s tomorrow, mid-60s for Thursday. Not bad Friday initially in terms of temperatures, but temperatures drop, could get a little wave in here, giving us a light wintry mix from Friday into Saturday. So no major accumulations, but some slick spots possible. We're a little warmer Sunday and Monday, and the temperatures drop next week. And yeah, we've got some flurry chances out there as well that we'll keep an eye on. That is a check of your forecast. We're going to send it over to Samantha now with Health Watch.
Thanks, Chris. The COVID virus is still having a big impact on elderly people in the U.S. That's according to a study published in JAMA, which found people over 65 make up 2/3 of COVID hospitalizations and 80% of COVID deaths. Getting vaccinated and receiving early treatment can prevent COVID from becoming severe. Teens spend about 1 hour of their school day on their phones. A study published in JAMA found that half of that time is spent on social media like TikTok, and the rest is spent on YouTube and games like Roblox. And the study also found teens from low-income households tended to spend more time on their phones during school hours than teens from more affluent homes. There are new guidelines for cervical cancer screenings in the U.S. The Department of Health and Human Services now says self-testing for HPV is recommended, which will hopefully lead to more people getting tested. HPV can cause cervical and other cancers. However, cervical cancer is a preventable type of cancer thanks to the HPV vaccine. Well, it's the gift of life times 2. Groundbreaking technology allowed doctors to use one donated liver for 2 different transplant patients. Reporter Dawn White has more on the innovative surgery.
It wasn't long after Luna Fuentes' birth. Her parents felt something was wrong.
They say jaundice kind of comes and goes.
But it didn't, and Luna's mom, Ashton, noticed more issues. Doctors diagnosed Luna with end-of-life liver failure and biliary atresia, a liver condition where bile ducts are absent or blocked.
She would need a transplant sooner than later because she was already about 75% had cirrhosis of the liver.
Luna went on the national transplant waiting list for more than a year. Finding a small liver was incredibly difficult.
On November 18th, they called, her liver team called us and said, hey, we possibly have a match.
That call from Children's Health in Dallas.
We actually divide the donor liver into two. Yeah.
Children's Health pediatric transplant surgeon Dr. Young Kwan performed the extremely rare split liver transplant. Children's Health is one of 10 pediatric hospitals in the country doing the surgery.
My guess is that about 100 cases annually.
Dr. Kwan divided a single adult liver into two, giving a small portion to Luna and the rest to a woman.
The 6.5 hour wait, it was really scary.
Samuel and Ashton noticed an immediate difference with their 2-year-old daughter.
As soon as she got back, it was like a switch went off. She wanted to eat pizza.
Luna had 2 bouts of rejection doctors got under control. Her prognosis is excellent.
Luna should be able to live a normal, healthy life, just like a regular people.
They saved our family, and man, I am so grateful and for the family that made that hard decision.
She's able to achieve things because of their sacrifice.
The Children's Health organ transplant wall includes hundreds of names, including Luna's, whose life is forever changed. Dawn White, CBS News, Texas.
That's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 6:30, election officials uncover major precinct boundary errors in Montgomery County.
And we've got dense fog across the region to start our day. We'll have a look at that and what happens after the fog coming up.
Plus, nearly 28 million trafficking victims globally, and the threat is in your neighborhood.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:31. I'm Samantha Walker.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is Tuesday, January the 6th, and a very foggy Tuesday as we get our day started. So, coming in, it wasn't that bad, but it was definitely picking up, and it has continued to do so through the morning hours.
And, it caught me at least a little bit off guard. I was like, I wasn't aware. I didn't prepare for this.
Yeah, yesterday, the densest fog we had was confined to Crawford County. Not the case this morning, and that's why this morning we do have a traffic alert that is in place across the area because of this dense fog and the significantly reduced visibility. So here's a look at what it looks like, or what it doesn't look like, however you want to phrase it. This is downtown Pittsburgh. You almost can't see downtown at this point. This fog is denser now than what it was initially when we began the show. Then you go over to Joplin. It's a light fog, and really through the morning, our Westco camera, 7th and range line, it's been a light fog in the city limits, but not so much beyond that. KDOT camera 69 just north of Baxter, and you can see as that car went by, very dense fog still. We head up to the KDOT camera 69 and 400. Again, pretty dense fog. Doesn't seem to be as dense right here as it is in Pittsburgh, but it is still some pretty dense fog at that location. Now again, on the Joplin side, MoDOT camera 32nd in range line, it's a little out of focus, but you can still see that light haze out there. Same from the MoDOT camera 20th in range line. Not as dense within the city itself, but then you get to the outskirts. I-44 exit 4, we've seen this improve and we've seen it get worse again, so you can we'll also make out that street light. Of course, it's 43 South or Coyote North, where it turns into Schifferdecker. Main Street, you can see the light fog, but it hasn't been nearly as dense there. I-44 and range line, again, fog, kind of thick out here, and same from exit 11 and I-44. In fact, it's a little worse now because you could make out the quick trip sign here. You can't really make out exactly what it is at this point. So this is again looking, I believe, back south along 249 where it becomes I-49. So again, please be cautious. Slow down. Low beams, not your high beams. Dense fog advisories, the latest of these run through 9 a.m. And of course, that's because we've got at or nearly zero visibility Pittsburgh, Miami, Parsons, Independence, Newada, Veneta, Grove, Anderson, and Bentonville. And with the exception really of Yates Center, nearly everybody dealing with reduced visibilities on nearly every major highway, every roadway, every main street, everywhere just about across the area. So you got to slow down. Like I said, you may know your route like the back of your hand, but when you can't see that route or the obstacles along that route, you've got to be extra cautious this morning. Temperature-wise, not bad. 52 in Joplin, 45 in Pittsburgh. Here's that weak cold front. It's already pushing through the area. Now, Yates Center, you're already back up to 40 now, but you can see where the front passes through, we drop a bit. We're into the mid-upper 30s. Ahead of it, take a look. We're into the 50s and upper 40s out there. As it pushes through, it's weak. It doesn't do much. In fact, our temperatures today for our highs only a couple of degrees cooler than yesterday. Skies will clear pretty quickly this morning once that fog burns off. And otherwise, we have a pretty decent day. Not much on the future track for us for Tuesday. Kids heading to school. It's that time again. Upper 40s for most of us heading out the door. Mostly cloudy, foggy, clear skies, 59 lunch and recess, mid 60s as you head home later today. We're going to go upper 40s by 9, upper 50s by noon, mid 60s for those highs, and that northwest wind 5 to 10. So we just got to get through this fog and then we'll be all right. Now we do have thunderstorm chances increasing late Wednesday into Thursday. Some of those could be strong. We're going to break down those details for you here in just a few more minutes. Samantha?
Chris, thanks. Mapping mistakes could affect where Montgomery County residents vote. Tensions and confusion in Montgomery County yesterday. Information and emails from the state dating back to October were brought forward during the county commissioners' meeting. The information indicated that the county's precinct map did not match what the state of Kansas has on file. Those precinct maps inform residents about where they vote and the candidates that will show up on their ballot. Tensions arose when one commissioner asked where the discrepancies came from, and no one could give an exact answer. Well, January is National Human Trafficking Prevention Month, and a coalition of local organizations is trying to raise awareness. KOAM's Kenny Foreman spoke with multiple experts on the importance of being aware of the issue.
Approximately 27.6 million people worldwide fall victim to human trafficking, according to the UN's International Labor Organization. For Prevention Resources Director at Life Choices Health Network, Chelsea Delgado, it's crucial to educate people on it as early as possible.
The average age of a trafficked victim in America is 11 to 14 for girls. And so when I teach in schools, that is the demographic that I'm teaching to. And they're very much still children. So I don't want to scare them, but I want them to understand that this is a real threat.
A major point of concern is an increased use of technology, especially when it comes to children. This can often put them more at risk when it comes to unwanted encounters.
What happens on the internet is real life, and it can stay around and haunt you for a long time. And so I want to make sure that we're critically thinking, both as parents and as children, about what our lives are online, and make sure that we're sharing what happens online with safe and trusted people.
Since human trafficking can occur in many different forms, some tend to get confused on what to look for.
When the media portrays perpetrators of human trafficking as people who are snatching people and kidnapping them and they're scary strangers, that can be misleading because often people are trafficked by people who are already in their lives.
But for when there is suspected danger, the Joplin Police Department has a simple message.
See something, say something. We as law enforcement, we don't know anything until the public comes and tells us. It's always beneficial. We have tons of resources online. You can always contact your local police department. You can contact the Southwest Missouri Cybercrimes Task Force, the Human Trafficking Hotline, the FBI.
In Joplin, Kenny Foreman at KOAM News.
That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Climate change dissolves oyster shells and threatens an entire industry. And later, the 2025 NFL regular season ends with several teams already launching their search for new head coaches before the playoffs begin. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. In Consumer Watch, the future of shellfish is a bit murky as oceans rapidly become more acidic. Washington shellfish farmers are sounding the alarm on ocean acidification. Gwen Baumgarten explains the potential impact on oysters, seafood prices, and shellfish farming.
Beneath the surface of Samish Bay, a growing crisis swells as shellfish farmers like Bill Dewey navigate a more acidic ocean.
Our fate's pretty well sealed for many decades to come.
15 years ago, ocean acidification nearly wiped out West Coast oyster farming, with huge oyster die-offs as the water corroded their shells. To survive, shellfish farmers were forced to mitigate, investing in research, water treatment systems, and programs to breed more resilient oysters.
But we didn't fix the problem. You know, ocean acidification is still there. It's getting worse, and it's going to continue to get worse as long as we don't wean ourselves off of fossil fuels.
Ocean acidification happens when CO2 emissions are absorbed into the water, changing the ocean's pH chemistry and its ecosystem. Increasingly so, says researcher Terry Klinger.
The change in pH in the ocean is something that is certainly unprecedented in modern history.
Future consumers could be in for a sea of change.
You may see us selling different species. Whether we'll be able to continue to farm our main species, the Pacific oyster, or not is yet to be seen.
A small study by researchers in Gothenburg, Sweden, identified changes in shrimp taste and texture when ocean acidification increased. And the EPA's National Center for Environmental Economics forecasts higher shellfish prices if current rates of ocean warming and acidification continue.
You've got a few more years left than me, but you're going to see changes in the ocean that'll be dramatic in our lifetime.
Reducing fossil fuels is crucial, says Dewey, to turning the tide on shellfish sustainability. Gwen Baumgardner, CBS News, Bo, Washington.
Now today in sports. Sunday, the Kansas City Chiefs season ended in a 14-12 loss to the Las Vegas Raiders, the team's 6th straight defeat. But there's lots of reasons to remain optimistic about Kansas City's future. After all, the Chiefs still have a future Hall of Fame quarterback and head coach combination, despite all the uncertainties surrounding the team. And with Sunday's loss, the Chiefs officially clinched a top 10 draft selection. And with the 2025 NFL regular season now officially over and the playoffs set to begin, several teams have already started their search for a new head coach. The Las Vegas Raiders have fired head coach Pete Carroll after just one season in charge. The Raiders finished 3-14 and missed the playoffs, prompting another reset for the franchise. In Cleveland, the Browns have parted ways with head coach Kevin Stefanski. After 6 seasons, he led the team to 2 playoff appearances, but ended this year at 5-12, and the front office decided to move on. That's it for sports, and now here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, taking a look in downtown Pittsburgh, still very dense fog out there this morning, so you need to be extra cautious as you're heading out. We're going to break down your forecast and have birthdays and anniversaries right after this. All right, time for some Tuesday birthdays, and we're going to start in Fort Scott with Olivia Felt celebrating birthday number 4. Happy birthday, Olivia.
And in Joplin, Lola Parker is celebrating birthday number 6. Happy birthday, Lola.
And in Seneca, Bella Miller celebrating number 11 says happy birthday from Mom, Dad, Ken, Bria, Nanny, and all of your family.
And in Parsons, Kenzie Keeling is celebrating birthday number 16. Happy birthday, Kenzie.
And in Jasper, Melinda Buchanan celebrating birthday number 43. Happy birthday.
And in Chanute, Kelly Olson is celebrating birthday number 58. Happy birthday, Kelly.
And over in Carl Junction, Barney Barnett celebrating birthday number 81. A very happy birthday to you.
And in Cherokee, Kansas, Glenn and Twyla Peak are celebrating their 69th anniversary. A very happy anniversary to them.
Yes, indeed. We also have Dottie Cornett of Chanute celebrating another year wiser. Happy birthday.
And in Columbus, Scarlett Bowles is celebrating another year older and wiser. Happy birthday, Scarlett.
And our list continues with Ben Jones, the long distance birthday, celebrating number 42 in Kansas City. Happy birthday.
And in Pittsburgh, Kansas, Robin Harrell is celebrating birthday number 46. Happy birthday, Robin.
And then down south to Riverton, Kevin Heron celebrating birthday number 66 today. Happy birthday.
And in Arma, Kansas, Kay Goebel is celebrating another year older and wiser. It says from your favorite younger sister. Happy birthday, Kay.
All right, another fantastic list of birthdays and anniversaries. They're always fantastic. And if you would like to contribute to that fantastic list, Samantha has some information you should jot down.
Yes, they should look at this email they can see on their screen right now. It's birthdays@KOAMnewsnow.com. That's where they can send those birthdays, those anniversaries, any pictures they want us to include. But they also should make sure they pay plenty of attention to that deadline they can also see on their screen, so that way we can make sure we get it in plenty of time to be able to celebrate with them on their special day.
Of course, very important information. I was just looking at the latest fog tracker update. Pittsburgh is reporting now officially 0 visibility. Not like it makes a difference from 1/10 of a mile, but now officially reporting 0. And this is a live look in downtown Pittsburgh where you cannot see much of anything out there this morning. Now we head to the Westco Camera 7th and Range Line, and this is also what we talk about too, about rapidly changing visibilities, okay? Because you see, in the city, it's been light fog in the city of Joplin throughout the majority of our morning so far. It's once you get on the outskirts of town that it becomes an issue. KDOT camera 69-400 south of Pittsburgh, looking east on 171. Fog is actually a little denser looking out here because the grass isn't as clear as it was a little earlier. KDOT camera 69 just north of Baxter Springs, dense fog there as well. We're going to head over to the MoDOT camera 20th in range line. Again, it's light fog in the city. Same from 32nd in range line. The MoDOT camera there, it's light fog. But then we take a look at the I-44 cameras, and that's where things change, with the exception of Main Street. The Main Street exit, or exit 6, there's the light fog, but it hasn't been that bad. But you go just 2 miles to the west, your visibility drops significantly. It's exit 4. Exit 8 at Rangeline, visibility is pretty low there as well. And at exit 11, and again, that's the quick trip sign. So we're looking south on 249 where it becomes I-49. And that fog is thickened up there earlier. And the only reason I say is because you could actually make out the quick trip sign this morning. Now you can't make it out so much. So that's what I also mean with rapidly changing visibilities and the fact, at least in the Joplin area, it's been on the outskirts of the city where the fog has been densest. Dense fog advisories, the latest of these running through 9 o'clock this morning. And this is why, with the exception now truly of Fort Scott, you're fine. Your visibility is just fine. But then you travel just a bit to the east. Look at Nevada, Stockton, 1.5 miles of visibility, 0 visibility. Pittsburgh, Miami, near 0, or at least very low. Parsons, Independence, Newata, Veneta, Grove, and Bentonville. Anderson's improved a bit, up to 1 mile. So this is why most of the major highways, all of I-44, the majority of I-49, most of 69, you've got to slow down. Low beams, not your high beams. Fog lights if you've got them. And just be cautious. We had a story just several weeks ago in the fog where a car went off the roadway. It's a route they probably take all the time, but because you couldn't see very far ahead of you, they missed the end of that road where it tees and they drove off the road. That's why we emphasize so much slowing down and being cautious. You know that route like the back of your hand, but if you were to drive that route, and don't ever do this, but if you were to drive that same route with your eyes closed, would you know every turn, every bump, every corner, every obstacle? Probably not. And that's where we're sitting this morning. That's why we're stressing so much to slow down, be cautious, leave early, or plan for your commute to take a little bit longer. You don't want to run into that situation because you're running late. And this fog is going to stick around for a hot minute. That's why those advisories, again, the latest of them, run through 9 a.m. Once we get past the fog, today looks fantastic. There's a weak cold front pushing through right now. And we say weak because the most it's going to do is our temperatures today are going to be 1 to 2 degrees cooler than where they were yesterday. Clear skies today and tonight to start tomorrow as well, but then a warm front starts lifting through, clouds increasing through the day. We're going to go mostly cloudy, gusty south breeze. Now, some data suggesting maybe after 9 or 10, we could get a couple isolated showers or thunderstorms. Better chances, though, as we head into Thursday. Scattered showers, a few thunderstorms to start the day, but as we go through the morning, after about 5:30, 6 a.m., thunderstorms begin pushing in. They become a bit more organized, and some of the storms that we see on Thursday morning could be strong to low-grade severe. Then as the front itself approaches Thursday, additional thunderstorm development is possible, and again, some of those could be strong to low-grade severe. Ahead of that front, look at those wind arrows. Very gusty winds out there. Could get a couple isolated showers into the evening as this thing exits, and then that's going to be it. We'll dry out. Here's what we're looking at. So we have just general thunderstorm chances again late tomorrow. They'll be fairly isolated to scattered. But Thursday, it's a level 1 out of 5. So as we said, we're not expecting a major severe weather outbreak by any means, but we could get some stronger storms with maybe some large hail and some gusty winds associated with them. So we'll keep an eye on that for you. As for this morning, again, through 9, some of that patchy fog, upper 40s to start, mid-50s by 11 a.m. Another look at your forecast and your wake-up recap in a moment. And on Fox 14 at 7 a.m., if you join us over there, a Tennessee pawn shop is cleaning up after an unusual crime was reported over the weekend. Details on that and more at 7 a.m.
This is your wake-up recap for January 6th, your top stories to start your day. A Joplin Good Samaritan received special recognition at yesterday's City Council meeting for saving a teenager's life. Joplin Fire Chief Ezel presented Mark Crandall with the Chief's Cross for his heroic actions during a house fire on South Pearl Street in December. Crandall had grabbed a ladder from his truck and rushed to help 15-year-old David Hatfield, who was trapped on a second-floor balcony. Joplin City Council members vote on a nearly $1.6 million plan to transform Joplin's aging sports facilities. Council members passed the contract on first reading to replace the synthetic turf at Joe Becker and Wendell Redden stadiums. The project also includes new turf installation at 4 fields in the Jean Baseman softball complex, where the majority of the funding will be spent. The upgrades were approved by voters as part of the quarter-cent Parks and Stormwater sales tax in 2021. That's a check of today's Wake Up Recap.
And a reminder, dense fog out there this morning. Once it clears, skies will clear as well. Mid-60s today, northwest winds 5 to 10. Clear skies through the evening and overnight means we will be colder tonight, still above normal, but back into the upper 30s with calm winds. We'll go upper 60s, maybe some low 70s tomorrow, clouds increasing. And then after 9, maybe an isolated shower or storm here or there with better chances as we head into Thursday. And some of those storms Thursday could be strong to low-grade severe with hail and wind as the primary concern. Could get a brief wintry mix late Friday. No accumulations really expected at this point, but could lead to slick spots Saturday. We're warm again Sunday and Monday, and then we get cold again next week, and maybe some flurries by next Thursday. So we're going to get really all 4 seasons roughly in the next 72 hours across the region, 72, 96 hours. 1 season a day almost.
That's incredibly on brand for the 4 states, I feel like.
Yeah, it really is. Honestly, if you don't like the weather, as we always say, just wait 5 minutes. It'll change again.
Well, thanks, Chris. Coming up today at noon, we're making an easy cheeseburger ring in the Mr. Vu Test Kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. Coming up, the king of the thriller, Harlan Coben, is live in studio. The best-selling author has a new CBS show about real-life murders and shares why he says the truth is more shocking than fiction.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, Charlene Patton with the Kansas Soybean Commission is here to help teach us a new recipe.
Plus, Emily Frankowski with Connect to Culture joining us to tell us about some exciting shows and performances coming up. That's going to wrap it up for us for now, though, here. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
And we'll see you today at noon.